Finally. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports. If you haven't hit the subscribe button already, please do hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and share the videos. Of course, tell your friends, get them in the room, get them talking. Okay, so we're talking about Anthony Yarde, Sergey Kovalev, the post-fight show. The post-fight, the next morning show. That this is about. The fight was billed, the time is now. And that title may have more ramifications than at first acknowledged. Now, first of all, I have the greatest respect for Tunde and Anthony. I'm not one of these people when somebody loses in the sense that I'm going to kick him when a guy's down. Before you Joshua fans jump in, I want to say that I've been talking about the shortcomings for years. And we'd seen it in the amateur career. And we saw it coming in the pro game. So I just want to make that clear before I move on. So this is to Tunde Ajayi, Anthony Yarde, stamina for sale, lions in the camp. And it's still lions in the camp. First of all, it's a very brave thing to do to go to Russia to fight for the world title. There are many, many, many English fighters that have won British, Commonwealth, European, and have never won a world title. Harold Graham, great fighter, never won a world title. Michael Watson, never won a world title. Nigel Benn got knocked out the same way as Yarde by a jab. And ironically, big puncher, punched himself out and got knocked out. Similar circumstances. Go back and look at when Nigel Benn got knocked out by Michael Watson. It was by a jab. And Nigel Benn is one of the most celebrated fighters in UK boxing today. So much so that his son is benefiting from that now in his career. So you can see, and I saw in Yarde, there was something there. There was potential. There was the ability there to do something. And I believed that he had the tools to beat Sergey Kovalev. Everyone talks about the experience. Yes. And I think the experience is key. Sergey Kovalev has got a brilliant left jab. And he gave Andre Ward, for me, one of my favorite fighters of the last 10 years. He gave Ward a lot of problems with the jab. So, of course, he was going to give Anthony problems with the jab. But I did my post-fight, and that's not what I'm here to talk about. I have to be very careful how I word what I'm saying here, because I don't want to be a reason why certain things happen in the future. But I have to speak on the things that I see. Now, I was commentating, so I didn't hear the commentary or what Tunde was saying in the corner. Now, if those rumors are true, that when Yarde was in the corner, Tunde was saying, lions in the camp, go get him. I have slammed trainers far more accomplished than Tunde Ajayi. And it's no disrespect to Tunde Ajayi. I've slammed trainers far more accomplished than Tunde Ajayi for saying, go get him, or let's go, champ, or because I remember being on this same channel and people put me up and pulled me up about it, about saying about Abel Sanchez and how he's come up short in big fights. And this is a guy that Abel Sanchez is a guy that I've got a lot of respect for. A lot of respect for. So, and for me, I just people sit with glee and with joy and are happy to see that Yarde got beat simply because of Tunde Jai. And for me, that's your opinion of where you're at, and that's great. But I'm more concerned about the fighter's career here. We've got into an era of social media where everyone's got an opinion, including my own. And at times we can be very insensitive. We can kick a person when they're down. Of course, when it's the other way around, and when a person's down and getting a good kick in, they don't like him. So for me, I'm just very careful about what I'm saying. A young man's career is still here, and I call it on the line. And I'm not going to be one of the people who are going to put the boot in, because there are a lot of things to look at and to take into consideration. If you're looking at guys like Floyd Mayweather, Roy Jones Jr., and Mike Tyson, they're three great fighters. And if you have modeled your style on those fighters, and you haven't won a British title, a Commonwealth title, a European title, you haven't done what other fighters have done, and you've got as far as you've got to with that, there are guys, as I said, who've done a lot more in world boxing and got absolutely obliterated in world title fights. So for that, I give Yarde all the credit in the world, but you just ask yourself, what would have happened if? We can still find that out. The problem with the Mayweather ideology is this. Roy and Mike are far more tangible. And I'll say this, because Yarde, because Tyson and Roy have something in common. They've both been to the top of the mountain, but they've both been knocked out, and they both had to come back from defeat. Roy got knocked out by Tava. He had to come back from defeat. He got beat by Montel Griffith, and he had to come back from defeat. Mike Tyson got beat by Buster Douglas and had to come back from defeat. He got beat up by Evander Holyfield, had to come back from that defeat. Mayweather never had to do that in his career. So that's one of the things that with Mayweather, that when you look at Mayweather and you study Mayweather, the one thing you can't go up to him and say is, what was it like when you lost the fight? Yeah, we did in amateur, fine. But as a professional fighter, everyone looks at, that shoulder roll is great. But again, the shoulder roll is effective against guys that are, if guys are taller than you, then it's a little different with that shoulder roll. Now, we could talk about tactics all day long. What my concerns are, and here it comes, is that Yarde sees a lot. He's an intelligent guy. And he will go back and look at the tape, and he'll ask himself some questions. This is where the fight begins. Do you believe in your team? Tunde can say what he wants. But Yarde's his own man in his own sense. He's the one who suffered the loss. He's the guy that was in the ring, and he's the guy who was taking the jabs and the right hands and the left hooks. And he's the guy that could have felt that he was guided well into this fight, or when all them jabs were coming, he would think to himself, what the hell is going on? I was never prepared for this. I was never prepared to how to slip these jabs. I was never prepared how to engage in a certain way. My team were telling me to go for it. And I went for it. And in the end, in the 11th round, I gassed out, got knocked out. Why didn't I go to the body earlier? Why didn't I break up why did I go to go and attack earlier? How much of that pad work, and I am very I'm not naive. I'm not going to sit in and say that stuff there is what made this stuff here is what I call pad work. I call it warm up. Warm up. I see this stuff as very much warm up. I don't see that as warm up, reflexes, be able to move. And there are a lot of things he was able to move himself out of the way of a lot of shots. Didn't take a lot of big punches. Yarde. That's another thing that's to be taken into consideration. But Kovalev is a quality fighter. Yarde didn't get blown out of there by a guy at British level. He didn't get beat up and done by a guy who was British level. Do you mean? Again, no disrespect to Anthony Fowler, but Anthony Fowler was an accomplished amateur, and big things were made of him as a pro. He got beat by Scott Fitzgerald. All right. Ted Cheeseman, a decorated amateur. Stalker, a decorated amateur. But these guys never got a chance to do what Yarde did and earn the money Yarde's done. So I think in that sense, Yarde has come out on top and he's made a lot of money, or he's made some money for it. Those are the things I look at there. But again, when Yarde sits back, he's going to look at his team and say, Lions in the camp. Okay. He himself in his thoughts. Nobody else, not Tunde, not the pad man, no one else will know. But Yarde himself will sit down, as a former fighter myself, will sit down and say, was it my team that let me down? Was it me that let me down? Yeah, I went out there and did what I could based on the skill set I had. But was my trainer adequate enough to deal with the situation ahead? And you'll talk and you'll say, okay, loss is an interesting thing. You lose a fight and you've got the shock. It's all happening all at once. So everything's happening quickly. You've got microphones shoved in your face and you're all in emotion and stuff, and you speak. That's what people don't get. You speak after a fight and you've just had all that adrenaline. You've been in a fight, and then somebody shoves a microphone up in your face and says, well, what do you think? And then after you go back to the dressing room, you got a microphone shoved up in your face again. It's the next month or so is where we're really going to see that relationship of Tunde and Yarde be really tested, because they haven't had to suffer a loss before. Now they're suffering a loss. They haven't had to look at one another and say, okay, does this system actually work? Yeah, I've suffered a loss. And how I've suffered a loss. And there's so many experts over the internet now. Oh, it's because of his muscles. Oh, it's because of the technique. Everyone's an expert in boxing. Very few trainers, lots of experts. Oh, it's because of this. Oh, it's because of that. You should switch trainers. As soon as you lose, you should change trainers. This happens a lot in boxing. You've got people in boxing they believe that as soon as you lose a fight, you switch trainers. But they're the same people that'll turn and say, oh, he's switching trainers too often. He should stick with one trainer. This is where you have to please yourself and forget what everyone else has got to say. So, some people can say from a keyboard and have the pleasure of sitting for a keyboard and making comments. And then there are people who are actually more deeply connected. So you want to see how those dynamics work. Okay. So I don't know. I mean, to call somebody a fraud, I don't know. That's a judgment, and I'm not going to judge anybody. I'm not going to judge anybody based on that. Yeah, Audley House and let's talk to some people. I want to talk to some people in the room who are actually who are going to bring something to the table less than just the negative stuff all the time. A lot of fans putting yards lost down to solely to exhaustion. This is dangerous. Yard one, maybe 1-2 rounds max. And he had his best moments in the 30 seconds burst. He did have Kovalev out there and blues load. It's true, which is down to inexperience. But he was being tagged far too much. He had no real answer to Kovalev's jab and looked static, which allowed Kovalev to get shot off and slip to the side, getting away from Yarde's predictable counters. Okay. Do I think Yarde should have pulled Yarde out in the 10th? Listen, if he pulled Yarde out in the 10th round, there would be, again, people down to opinion. People would say, okay, he pulled him out in the 10th round. He quit in his stall. Yarde's a quitter. So you can't please everybody. And I'm going to kind of stick. I'm not going to get caught up in what anybody else is saying. I'm going to cut up to what I think and how I feel about it and not get caught up in everyone else. If you feel the way you feel, start up a podcast, do a video, say what you got to say. But I'm going to say things on how I see it. I'm not going to go around and start calling people frauds. I'm certainly not going to do that. I will say that if there's an experience in the corner and you're up short, you're caught short, the best thing you can do is go back to school. Either go back to school or bring another master in to teach you in areas that you're short. That's the best you can do. You can add, or you yourself go back to school. Add meaning bringing another teacher in, or go back to school. But staying as you are and not progressing and staying with the same mindset and sticking the same way is dangerous. So, big test now for Tunde, for me. You can't say, well, we're going to stay with things the way they are. You can't, because now people are giving you credit. Say, well, yeah, you kind of do belong at that level, or you are not too far from that level. I tell you something now. I don't think Frank Buglioni would have lasted that long in the ring. I tell you now, Frank Buglioni is a British champion. Was a British champion. I don't think Buglioni would have lasted that long against Kovalev. Nathan Clever didn't last that long against Kovalev. All right, so there are things. I think that in the UK we don't like guys. We don't like confident people. We really don't like confident people. And if Naseem Hamed was around in this era of cynicism and negativity and all that stuff, people would be disrespecting him all the time. People, if they're disrespecting Naseem Hamed, they would have disrespected Ali as well. Ali's fighting with his hands down by his side. Oh, he got dropped by Henry Cooper. Oh, he got dropped by Henry Cooper. And George Foreman. Oh, he got beat by what's his name? When George Foreman got knocked out by Ali. The way he got knocked out by Ali. Yeah, people would be so critical now. So many people will be overly critical. Can't wait for somebody to lose. Really can't wait. Ready to dig in. No, not me. You can do that. That's entirely up to you. That's how you're built. That's up to you. And I'm not that. That's what everyone else is. If they want to do that, that's fine. But for me, I'm going to try and pick this apart and try and say, well, okay, what happens now? What happens now? And if Yarde were to make changes, who would he go to? Would he go to the Mayweathers, where that style is there? How does this affect his sponsorship deals? Do you go back to fighting British level? Do you fight European level? Or do you go straight back in at world level? So what do you do? And who determines what the next fight is? And why was the time right now? That's the question. Why was the time right now? Maybe it would have been smart to fought a guy who had a really good jab. If that was to prepare for Kovalev, how do you get past a guy who's got a great jab? That would have been helpful. Hindsight's a an interesting, and everyone gets stuck in afterwards when a loss is there. But it's the dynamic. A dynamic between Tunde and Yarde is going to be very interesting. Yarde's going to read a lot of stuff over social media. And he's a smart kid. He's a smart kid. A very smart kid. And he's astute. And for him, he's going to want to say to them, you know what? What's the best way for me to move forward in this? Okay, let's see. Daryl. Let's see what you're saying here, Daryl. I know what people are saying in the room. Right. Standing there throwing the same shots over and over again. Stop. Josh Kelly got whooped the other night by Ray Robinson throwing the same combination over and over and over again. They gave him a decision. Katie Taylor, world champion, got the brakes beaten off of her by a part-time police officer. I don't hear you all getting into that. I don't hear you getting into that. I don't hear you getting into that. Yeah, they won the fights, but we know they got their ass whooped that night. But I don't hear you getting into that as much as you're getting into Yarde versus Kovalev. Against a guy who's got very little experience going against Kovalev. So there's no the balance. That's why some people don't listen to, because some people, there's no balance. They're not coming here like week in, week out with a balance view saying, okay, this here and that fight here and that fight. No. This fight is because there's an agenda. They don't like the person, so they come in and no, be balanced. Be balanced. Josh Kelly, decorated amateur career. He's all this great stuff, yeah? But he went and fought against Ray Robinson in America. And he was doing the same thing over and over and over again. Adam Booth, a well-respected trainer. His fight was doing the same thing over and over and over again. Nothing said. Katie Taylor, in that last fight she had against that part-time police officer. She didn't have a decorated amateur career. She wasn't, and look what she was doing to Katie Taylor. I just think there needs to be balance. Right, let's see. From a managerial perspective, Tunde's done a great job. He got Yarde to be a millionaire without taking any damage. Sure, he didn't win, but he can come. He can come. He secured himself financially first and foremost. Thank you so much there. So from that side of things, Tunde is not a fraud. So the argument that Tunde is a fraud, really? Well, you tell me how many British fighters you know who've had more experience than Yarde, who have financially not set themselves up. I did, and has not had the backing and support. Yarde has had so much sponsorship. The sponsorship deals he's had, they're more well-respected amateur fighters that turned pro who had won British titles that never got the accolades that Yarde got. So Tunde Giant must be given credit for that. So when somebody says that he's a fraud, really? I'm not so sure if you can call somebody a fraud based on what that's happened. From a managerial side of things, excellent. Excellent. And Yarde was not only seen on Sky, but he was seen on BT Sports as well. How many British fighters do you know that has crossed over crossed over both channels, both platforms? So for advertisement and for promotions, Tunde's done a fantastic job. Fantastic job. And just possibly, he may have to look to bring in somebody else in as well. And he can continue doing that managerial side for Yarde. Just a thought. I'm not saying that is, but just a thought for the extra bit of help. Because everyone can see he's got ability there to become a world champion, I think. I'd love to see him against Pascal. I think that's another great fight. Great matchup. But it's how they go about getting to that fight. The instruction from Tunde in the corner was not great. I did hear that. Yarde is a natural fighter, though. He's gone very far with his ability. Needs to do some more learning fights. So, yes. BK says, Yarde done well and showed great heart. Yes. You could mention Audrey Harrison as well. I could. Okay, see here. Yarde showed good potential. Great. Think the team is more at fault. Yarde is obviously a hard worker who is talented. Yeah. Let's move through a second here. Let's see now. It says here. You know, just what you do. Let's talk. You check the oven for me, please, very quickly. Okay, good. Right, so let's see what people are saying here. Yeah, man, Yarde did better than Hamza says, but expected he can hold his head up high, especially with the limited experience. He almost got Kovalev out there in the 7th and 8th. Yes. So I was really impressed with that. Let's see. I think I'm just gonna have a troll in my room tonight. So this before I go any further. Yeah, let's get you out of the room. Right. Okay. I don't appreciate you shouting. Yeah, I think so. But I don't think Yarde. For me, I don't think Yarde performed better than expected. I expected that of Yarde because that's what I saw of Yarde. So I didn't need Yarde to fight against Kovalev for me to see that he had that ability. So I could see that ability there. So they're overly critical, but never stepped a foot in the ring themselves. I agree. Totally agree there. Totally agree. That's what I'm saying. Yarde has an explosive style. Some people on Twitter saying Booth would be a good choice. No, why is Booth? Why is people talking about Booth? He's got Josh Kelly. What's he doing with Josh Kelly? Josh Kelly threw the same punches over and over and over again. Josh Kelly's still sitting on ropes, and Josh Kelly's a knockout waiting to happen. I'm telling you now. And that's and Booth sees him. Wait, Booth sees him as a great fighter and the best he's ever worked with. But what happened to David Haye and George Groves? Are you telling me that this guy, Josh Kelly, is better than David Haye or George Groves? Come on, man. The guy don't punch as hard as Groves or Haye. The guy's not explosive like Haye or Groves. The guy's not defensively slick as Haye or Groves. The guy doesn't have the variation of punches that Haye or Groves had. Sorry, but you all keep talking about Booth. Not for me. Sorry. Let's see. Hamza saying to the point, nobody's forced you to be here. Stop being so negative. Well, England, they should add you to the team. No. Maybe sometime in the distant future, if the opportunity comes. I have worked with one fighter, not mentioning their name. I've worked with a couple of fighters actually in boxing. I'm not saying any more than that because I know there's too many ears in boxing. So up to seeing contracts and stuff, you know. But yeah, I've seen a lot. I don't sit here with just a keyboard typing. So I'll say this much, that maybe sometime in the future I will get involved in the sport. Maybe. That's not a door that's on me, but it's always something that's itching me to get involved with. If people wanted to see Yarde fall, they couldn't wait. Of course they couldn't wait. But there's a lot of reasons why that is, and that's just symptomatic of the UK in general. They don't like winners. The UK hate winners, really. They like to losers. They like to gossip. They like to see people down because in some people's mentality, that's where they belong. That's where you belong. You know, don't excel. You don't belong. You're talking too much. You're not fit. You're not right. You don't look the right way. You don't speak the right way. You're not one of us. And so from that mentality, from being in the UK and being a person in the UK myself, I understand their mentality. Just stay in that little lane. Stay in that corner. Be that person. Be that good little boy. Don't say anything. Don't rock the boat. Don't be controversial. Controversial is just not putting up with being, in some ways, and I use the term, not being a slave to a certain way of thinking. to a narrow-minded way of thinking, to a racist way of thinking, to a small-minded way of thinking. You should be like this, 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 and this. But I can be what I want to be. You have to be this, 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 and this. But in my private life and for my business, I can be who I want to be freely. I can say what I want. I can talk what I want. I can do what I want. And even if I fail in what I do, it's okay, because I'm beyond criticism. And who are you to criticize me? These are sort of people we have very much seeping through these Twitter feeds. So a lot of the people that you listen to and you watch how they act and they behave, just check them closer and watch them from a political standpoint where they're at. And then you understand where their mindset is. Why do you want a young person to fail? Why do you want a young person to fail? A person hustling off the street, that's their hustle, that's their way. And they're getting to where they got to. If you ain't been part of the struggle, you don't understand it. And you've got to hustle in your own sort of way. You've got to hustle your own sort of way. Do you know what I mean? You might not like the way the person's hustling, but it's legal. Let them get on with it. So for me personally, if I'm seeing somebody on there hustling, doing their thing, let them get on with it. It could be worse. They could be doing knife crime. They could be doing gun crime. Right? So full credit to Tunde and Yarde for what they're doing. Full credit. Everyone's coming there with their opinion and their stuff. And he should have done this and he should have done that and he could have done this and he should have done that. It is what it is. It's happened. So now how do we move on from that? How do we positively move on? Haters, stay to one side. Just stay to one side. Go on. Chug on. Keep going. But for this situation, how do they move on? How do they rebuild? Bernard Hopkins lost his first fight. I think he lost his first 2 fights. Still came back and became one of the best fighters of an era. Great fighter, Bernard Hopkins. Do you know what I mean? I remember Howard Eastman. He was British champion, right? And he knocked out Rob McCracken. To go on to fight Hopkins. And he came up short. He fought William Joppy, such a talented fighter, Howard Eastman. Came up short. Harold Graham, so talented, came up short. You know, Kirtland Lang beat Roberto Duran, came up short at world level. So there are many people have come up short at world level. So it's not like Yarde's the only person that's come up short at world level. He's come up short at world level, but financially, you know, you got to say he's world class and elite. So they leave Russia with a good bit of money in their back pocket. They're not being mugged off. Let's see. Yeah, Daryl. Yeah, they were this negative when Price lost his first fight versus Tony Thompson. Or is this criticism reserved to certain fighters? Ingo, I know this is way off topic, but do you feel former white players get more opportunities than their black counterparts? I was thinking about it when I saw a Frank Lampard interview. Listen to me. Truth be said, listen. John Barnes. I remember when John Barnes was a manager, and they got him out quick time. Do you know what I mean? The people were given. If you look at the managers within the English Premiership, the English managers, they have been serial failures. Yet they keep getting over and over again. It is what it is. Until you can show me genuine change, it is what it is. You can talk about kick racism out of football. If you want to kick racism out of football, let's see it from the top. If you're really serious about something, let's see it from the top. Let's see it within the top, the higher ranks of the FA. Let's see it at the top, at the higher ranks within management. Let's see it at the top. So many talented black footballers in the world, or previous black footballers in the world. So if there is no equality, yes, it must be talked about. And if people say to me, oh, well, you're pulling up the race card, I've got a damn right to pull up the race card. Because if you don't show me the equality, show me the quotas and show me the equality. Right? We've got equality within the English football team. The national side, we've got a mixture of black, white, whatever, within the England side, because they're talented players there. but we don't see it within the English Premiership. I would argue if we even see it in the Championship. These are just things that I talk about, and I don't business what anybody else thinks, because you got your opinion, I've got my opinion. But that's the way I see it. Yeah. Hatton, Naz, Khan, Brooke, Ben, Eubank, Kazaki. Yeah, we all hated on all of them. No, dear. Man, I hope Yarde blocks the haters out and really starts honing his skills. Okay. Hatton and Naz, Brooke, Bruno, Ben, Eubank. Well, look, Khan got knocked out brutally. Bruno's been knocked out brutally. Kazaki, let me be honest about Joe Kazaki. You're rating Joe Kazaki up now. But when Joe Kazaki was fighting, he wasn't getting the respect he deserved. He was not getting the respect. Maybe I don't think he was getting the respect he deserved. Joe Kazaki, no. He was not getting it. Oh, he's only got a WBO title belt. He's only got a Tim Pot belt. Remember? Because at them times, let's take your mind back. Roy Jones was around. Roy Jones, Joe McLennan was around that era time. And Kazaki was just coming in. You know, but those guys, Roy Jones was still around. Prime Roy Jones. And would that see what Kazaki would have done against prime Roy Jones and prime Bernard Hopkins? I don't know. James Toney. Those guys were around. Football is dominated by players of colour. I'm talking about managers, Chris. Managers. How many managers? Managers and at the FA level. I'm not talking about football, kicking a football around. Tunde, a safe face rather than save his fighter for another round and beat me. I'll move away from that. Ingram, if Yarde took your advice of going to the body early, the outcome may have been different. The outcome would have been different. But the outcome would have been different because what you do, you chop the body early. So in the later rounds, what happened there would not have happened. That would not have happened. So remember I said in the fight, the tactic strategy, mid-range to up close, Kovalev is ineffective. Ineffective. And you saw when Yarde was mid-range to up close. So if you look at the jabs that Yarde was taking, where was he taking them jabs from? Long range. Right? Mid-range to up close is where Yarde needed to be for that fight. Nowhere else. Nowhere else in that it should have been. And it's easier said than done, but that is the strategy. Mid-range to up close. Mid-range to up close. Nowhere else. And then we would have cut that stuff up about the experience. Because Kovalev experience on fighting off the back foot, mid-range to up close, that's what you call closing the gap. In experience, okay, we know long range, you're not winning the fight. I said that. You're not winning the fight from long range. Oh, Yarde can win from long range. No, he can't. He's not winning the fight from long range. Mid-range to up close. It has to be the way. You cannot fight any other way. That's where you close the gap. That's where you close experience. That's where you start chopping the body, chopping the body, chopping the body. From round one, chopping the body, chopping the body. So when you go to get inside, if you kept it that range, there would have been more opportunities to land more punches with more strength. You would have had more stamina, and maybe you got the job done. Easier said than done because Kovalev is an elite fighter. So, but you didn't really get to see when Yarde actually started investing into the body, you saw Kovalev start to fall apart. But when did he start to invest? When it was rounds behind. You know? And mentally, that's draining. Never mind the physical, the mental. Because you know yourself you're losing the fight. You know you're losing the fight, and you know that you've got to get inside, not get caught yourself, land your shots, make sure you don't get counted. There's a hell of a lot of shots to deal with. People just think you just go in there and fight. But if you've never actually fought like that, when you've now got a guy that's now present you a different problem, the jab's coming first. So I've got to get out the jab, right? I've also got to get out, make sure I'm not getting hit myself. I've also got to land your own shots and get in. A lot of stuff going on there. Then you're going back to your corner. Lions in the camp. Well, that's great. Come on, chap. Well, you have to show me instruction. How do I get past jab? Step team or close the range down faster. They had to close the range down. Let's see. Let's see now. If Yarde took, yeah, exactly. Why do former black players get less opportunities? It's clear. Plus, remember when Rowan Atkinson was caught speaking on Desai, Chelsea youth players getting racially abused. Shake my head. There you go. Let's see now. Let's see. Could Yarde have found a way to the body early versus a fresh Kovalev is the question. Well, we didn't have a fresh Kovalev, did we? I mean, fresh. Yeah, okay, I get what you mean. Sorry, I thought you meant fresh Kovalev, younger Kovalev. He did because he was landing body shots. He was landing body shots. But like I said, Kovalev is not effective mid to up close. It's not effective. And a lot of the shots, if you notice, were shooting over the shoulder. The way it was mid-range up close, they were shooting over the shoulder. When you're at long range and you're still trying to shoot the shoulder, you're getting hit in the face. That's the difference. Give me a second. Sorry, let's see now. Let's see now. 2 days of con man. Come on, let's just say it as it is. Con man. Okay. Thank you, Hamza. But John Marks has been wanting to say that anyway. So a con man, when he's done a damn good job as a con man. If he's a con man, a whole man, so he's a con man, but there are other people in boxing not con men. Huh? And why, if you talk about con men, why are you not in here also talking about, you know, when the whole thing I was talking about Barry Hearn and the slave trade or the slave contract, why were you in here with the same energy, with the same sort of, you know, focus like you've got now? You've got a lot of focus now. Why were you not got the same focus when we were talking about Barry Hearn and talking about slave contracts? Why you not got the same energy there? Huh? Why is that not coming through? Huh? Ingram, I'm blocking people who called are calling names without explanation or anything. It's getting ridiculous. Now, of course, thank you. Yarde was landing jabs to the body early. I don't think he could land power shots to the body earlier as a fresh Kovalev. He was landing body shots because when he was getting close, he was landing the body shot. In during the fight, he was landing the body shots. And Kovalev is not effective. When Yarde actually put his hands up and walked to Kovalev, he was not as effective. It's when he was doing that shoulder roll from distance and doing that stuff from distance. That's when Kovalev was catching with a jab. Yeah, whatever, mate. Yarde will be back. Jab more to the body will be a little more where was the counter right hook? That's well, I wouldn't know where that check the right hook, right shot over the top was. Never saw much of it. I like Yarde check hook. Let's talk about what he did well. Of course, there were some things he did very well in there. A lot of things he did well in there. If Yarde had become world champion, right? If he'd become world champion, all this would have gone quiet. Yarde's ring walk and confidence is supreme. Yeah, his confidence was very good. I really liked his confidence. I loved what he believed himself. Yeah, he was walking Kovalev down. That's what I'm saying. So all these people talking about, well, Kovalev, Yarde couldn't close him down. Yarde put his hands up, he tucked up, and he walked to Kovalev. He took the fight to Kovalev. Best ring walk I've seen in a couple of years. Yeah, he's an entertainer. The guy has, to me, Yarde has superstar marked all around him, but it's how he's managed now. The guy's a good-looking guy, got a great physique, you know, talks well, good chin, good heart, you know, technical things that can be worked on. You know, he can come again, and he's got superstar wrapped around him. He's got that. He just has to be able to add that with some more experience. And I don't think. I think when Canelo fought Mayweather, they can always say, well, if you lose to Mayweather, you can always come back. You're young, right? And you get paid a hell of a lot of money. And you have a big fan base anyway. Yarde didn't have that. So I would work, me personally now, if I'm with Yarde's team, if I'm brought on Yarde's team, I go on the rebuilding process. I start to build his fan base. I build his fan base. I build his fan base. I build an effect to that Kovalev thing. I really work on that. This, because you've heard before, other fighters. You remember with Matthew Macklin when he lost, was it Matthew Macklin? No. What's the guy? Martin Murray. When he lost to, he lost him 2 world title shots and it was so close. Oh, Martin Murray, he lost those 2 world title fights. That was the selling point for Martin Murray. He lost those 2 world title fights. Maybe you can do it on a 3rd, you know? A lot of questions have to be asked. Is Yarde's football good enough to carry his own boxing, his current style down? I think he's all right. Tunde is too stubborn, proud to work on the weaknesses or to acknowledge where he went wrong. He's going to have to. He's going to have to. Damn this sunlight. He's going to have to. Is he humble enough as a trainer to make improvements? He's going to have to. Because if he doesn't make those adjustments, his fighter will leave him. Yeah, agreed too. That Yarde can be too static at times. Well, come on, stop a second. Stop. You're talking about a guy who has an elite left jab. Buglioni could not do that. Hosea Burton could not do that. Joshua Boazzi could not do that because those guys don't have what Kovalev's got. So cut with a crap with a he's too static. That jab was an elite jab that was coming at him. Elite jab. It gave pound for pound. Andre Ward fits. So don't on one sense say, well, he's not got the skill set of Andre Ward. No, you're joking. And then look at Andre Ward and say, well, Andre Ward, he struggled with Kovalev with the jab. Come on, let's have some balance here. Kovalev's got a great jab. Give the man credit. The man has a great jab. Not do of a Yarde being static. It's do game plan. And the game plan is you decide to stay on the outside with a shoulder roll when you should have been mid-range to up close. That's it. It's not rocket science. It really isn't. Mid-range, up close, work Kovalev's body. That is it. Yeah, people in rocket science. It's not rocket science. You box to your strengths and not your weaknesses. You do not box the Kovalev strength. Kovalev's got a great jab. How do you take that jab away? Get on the inside. Walk him down as you are. Use that shoulder roll to slip inside. Slip the shots. Oh, when the jab's coming over the top, that's when you work to the body. Because he was slipping and rolling. The jab when it was coming up, when it's shooting over the shoulder, because they weren't all catching the face. When shooting over the shoulder, that's where you dig them body shots inside. And that's how he was able to shoot the body shots inside. Why do you have to wait until the 8th round to close up to walk that guy down and take chances when you could have been doing that early on in the fight? Because he's not effective mid-range up close. I don't get that. I don't understand it. This is the main reason for wanting Yarde to win, to shut up the likes of Barker. Well, look, and Mitchell for trashing tippy-tappy pad work. Well, okay. Well, Barker training Dave Allen worked out well, didn't it? It worked out well, didn't it? Look what happened to Dave Allen. They ended up going out on stretcher. That's because he was fighting with his face all the time. I don't hear nobody talking about that. I don't hear anybody talking about that. I don't hear anybody talking about it. Had lacked defense, walks in straight lines, getting cracked by David Price. I hear nobody talking about that. And, ripping Darren Barker for that. But I hear ripping Tunde Ajayi. You see, this is what I talk about, the lack of balance. I went heavy on Yarde. KO was so close. It was so close. Ingram, I think certain fans don't like Yarde because he doesn't have someone like Eddie speaking for him and doesn't seem to have certain handlers like AJ. That's why he's getting the stick. I know, that's what I'm saying. I get it. I get the agenda. Don't forget, this was Tunde's first dance under the bright lights. He himself will surely gain experience, of course. Do you know Tunde personally? Are you associated with the camp? Yeah, I know him personally. I know him personally, like to now go like this, pick up a phone and say, "Hey, Tunde, what's going on?" So I know him well. That's what I was saying myself. He couldn't though move. Oh, okay. He doesn't. Okay, right. Going to fight Kovalev was Yarde's best move. He has propelled him forward to the mix with the best. I agree. I didn't say Buck. I didn't hear. Oh no. Matchroom employee Macklin says Boazzi beats Kovalev right now. Do you agree? No. No. Not at all. No. Don't think so. I don't think so. And Boazzi has got more experience, but that doesn't mean because he's got more experience. I mean, who was Boazzi for? I mean, you talk about Yarde, but Boazzi's the guy who's got the experience. Surely Boazzi should have been the guy fighting against Kovalev first, not Yarde. But let me ask you a question. Before you go on and start talking about Yarde, let's look at the matchroom fighters. Let's look at the guys they fight before they go and fight for world titles. Or they fight for European titles. And look at the successful year Matchroom had with all their fighters getting beat. And should have got beat, including Katie Taylor and Josh Kelly. Two other people should have got beat. But I don't hear nobody talking about these things. So, we know what the score is, and we know what the score is. We know how it goes. We know what the situation is. So these people ask you ask for a balanced discussion. And again, nobody's coming back with anything to me. It's all going quiet. Come back to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. Because the tune will change. If Yarde were to go with Eddie, the tune would change. When Tyson beat Klitschko, it was a win, and it was a good win against Klitschko, but it was an old Klitschko. When Joshua beat Klitschko, it was the best Klitschko ever. We haven't seen Klitschko fight this for years. How can a guy fight better 2 years later on with no time fighting? I don't get the mentality. I don't get it. Yarde is a better boxer than AJ. Yarde will come again. Of course he'll come again. But it's how he comes again, though. This is crucial. What he does now is crucial. You'll have to believe in his team. You'll have to believe in Tunde. You'll have to shut up the haters. And if you thought he needed mental strength in that fight, he'll need more mental strength now. Yarde has probably become the most talked about British boxer, not named AJ. Now is the time to take advantage of it. I agree. And so for that, Yarde wins. He wins and wins and wins. He wins from a promotional standpoint. He wins from a financial standpoint. Okay, he wins in terms of people know what he's about now on the global scale. And they know he's got some things to work on. And they also know he's young. So Yarde wins a lot. But it's crucial that they make the right moves now moving forward. I would like to see Yarde. I'd love to see Yarde fight Pascal, but I just don't know. I don't know not what is left of Yarde because he's just been knocked out. He's been exhausted, knocked out. Yarde didn't get knocked out by Kovalev's punching power. He got knocked out because he was exhausted. Sheer exhaustion. And that's the difference. So he shows he can take a punch. A lot of people are like, listen, if you were to go in to all these people who said, first of all, said the fight's not going to happen, Yarde's ducking this person, and Yarde's not going to go to Russia. If you listen to those people make those comments unaccountable. Nobody pulls those people up for those comments. When these people make their comments, they're not being pulled up about it. Tunde gets pulled up about his comments. Yarde gets pulled up about his comments. And they have to be held accountable. But people on here make comments about Yarde's ducking this person, Yarde's ducking that person, Yarde's not going to go to Russia, liars in the camp, and they've gone and they've done it and they did their dance and it didn't come out right. It didn't come out the way they wanted to come out. But then again, there have been more pluses than minuses. This is one of the few British fighters that after getting beat, their status has grown. It hasn't diminished, it's grown. Because now, people, you go back to sponsor, all right, look, we lost the fight, we can come back. And the marketing strategy now can be the comeback. And Adidas can be smart and say, you know what? We believe in Anthony Yarde. We believe in champions. We backed Tunde and we backed Anthony because we backed champions. And we saw enough championship quality in Yarde to believe he can come back and come back better. So Adidas can turn this all around now and kind of say, all right, we're going to back this young champion. We can see superstardom in him. So it's another way. You can look at it another way. Look at AJ. AJ's lost. I know he was world champion. He's lost. Now they're backing the comeback. A lot of people are backing the comeback. But if he gets beat by Andy Ruiz again, what's going to happen? Pasca's a dog. That'll be a tough fight for him. It'll be a good tough fight. Yeah, Yarde fell down from a jab and Kovalev's arm wasn't even fully extended. He was exhausted. What? I'd have to go have a look on boxing forums and social media. Him and Tunde are getting flamed. Well, of course they're going to get flamed, but they're getting flamed anyway. They're getting flamed. People getting flamed anyway, but it don't matter. It doesn't matter. Social media is not secure. I mean, these critics are not secure in their future, so they can say what they want. I've been flamed on social media, so what? Who cares? Yarde is very likable, but I think Tunde needs to stay in the background. I think it turns fans off him. Well, hold on. Eddie Hearn turns a lot of fans off. Well, you're going to tell Eddie Hearn should stay in the background now? Eddie Hearn said some ludicrous things, right? But he's not in the background, is he? Who do you think wins, Yarde or Callum Johnson? That's a great fight. Now, I rate Callum Johnson very highly. I rate Callum Johnson. As I said before, if you gave me money to invest in a fighter today, British fighter, don't put Yarde in there, a British fighter today that I could invest in today, right now, wouldn't be Buatsi, it wouldn't be a Coley, it wouldn't be Yarde, it'd be Callum Johnson. It'd be Callum Johnson. I keep saying it, and I keep on saying it. And I will take Callum Johnson and I'd take him to Uncle Bashir. I'll take Callum Johnson, I'll take him to Uncle Bashir. I say, listen, here's some money. The only thing I don't know about Callum Johnson is his mindset in terms of his training, and you know, I don't know what he's like as a fighter, what's going on, dynamics, relationships, if he's a drinker, or I don't know those dynamics outside. But from what I've seen of Callum Johnson, I would take him. He seems to have a decent chin. He's got ferocious punching power in both hands. I would like to see Callum Johnson against Kovalev. I would love to see Callum Johnson against Kovalev, but I'd like to see Callum Johnson get fit. I'd like to see him fight some fights, get some momentum behind him. Yes, I think he is talented. I personally think he's talented, very talented. Adidas would be smart to stick with Yarde. This is heavyweight. It was his aging division. Yarde is definitely future. If Yarde had gotten Kovalev out of there in the 8th, people would discredit his win also. Then it would have been about Kovalev's age, drinking, and court cases, etc. Of course it would. He dropped Beterbiev, and if he had stamina, I mean, if he had fights coming into that Beterbiev fight, it'll knock Beterbiev out, because Beterbiev cannot fight off the back foot. Another guy who cannot fight mid-range to up close. Another guy, and he is worse than Kovalev. He's worse than Kovalev, because when he's back against him, he don't know what to do. I rate Callum Johnson very highly, very, very highly, very highly. If you can't see Kovalev is a fading fighter, oh dear, oh dear. Okay, all right, fine. All right, Chris. I'm going to stop watching boxing. All right, Chris. I'm gonna stop watching boxing. Let's see how this works. All right. I'm gonna listen to you, Chris. I'm gonna stop watching boxing. I'm gonna stop watching boxing because if I couldn't say Kovalev is a faded fighter, I'm gonna stop watching boxing. I'm gonna stop watching boxing. I'm stop watching boxing. See how that works for you. Ingram, I can see Canelo stopping Kovalev to the body. I see why Canelo wants that Kovalev fight's this bad. Rumors of Beterbiev being chinny, though. Might be Johnson's detractors saying that, though. LOL. Bija Soros wants to fight Kovalev now. I mean, like, so because, in your opinion, Chris, because I don't see Kovalev. By the way, Chris, let me just bring you up about something. I want to say, if you go back and look at all my videos tracking up to this fight, I spoke of the strategy, what was necessary to beat Kovalev. I also said that the way you close experience down is by closing the gap. And I said there's no way Yarde wins this fight by long distance. I did do a video on that. And I did also mention that I believe Kovalev was a faded fighter. And this is the reason why you do this against Kovalev. You go to the body, break him down because I think he's a faded fighter. So, first of all, I did acknowledge that Kovalev was a faded fighter. Second, I also acknowledged that Kovalev is far more experienced fighter. Third, I also said that if Kovalev, if Yarde is going to win this fight, it has to be mid-range, not close. Fourth, I said that if Kovalev is going to win this fight, it will be from long range. I state those things. I took the time to sit down in front of a screen and do a video. I did that. That's the evidence of what I've said and what I've done from point one to from. I've always done breakdowns, in-depth breakdowns, so I can track back and say what I said. And then you want to come on my channel and tell me that I should stop watching boxing? Really? That's like me coming into darts and telling you to stop talking about darts. There's probably times you've made criticism of people and made judgment calls on dart players, and they've proven you wrong. Unless you're 100% perfect within the darts world and you've got every prediction correct. So, you know, and again, we must give credit to Buddy McGirt. Must give credit to Buddy McGirt. He had Kovalev with the left hand up from the start of the fight. The left hand was up. Don't let your personal feelings, Chris, or your hatred towards someone take off your professionalism. Don't allow that to be because that's where you then can be put in a box of being just a hater, and it's not a place to really be. Because I know you're better than that, Chris. Really better than that. And I'm sort of like, you know, slightly disappointed, but you know, I don't have expectations of people, so you're entitled to your opinion. Canelo would drain Kovalev, so of course he will stop him to the body. Why don't Canelo fight him with a no re-irritation clause? Canelo much better at jab than Yarde too. There's a danger that Yarde is 6-round fight. He bit. Oh dear me. Buddy McGirt is a world-class fighter. Canelo is way smaller than Yarde. Not certain Canelo can find a way inside. Yeah, and Kovalev's got a world-class jab. Let's not forget that. Yeah, that's true. Canelo is shorter, man, but I think he's able to jab to get in range more than Yarde. He's got the experience to do it. So, yeah, I'm going to end here because you know, as I said, one of the reasons why I you know, this boxing thing's coming to an end for me is that, you know, I've served a lot of time in this. I've done a lot of time in it. Done a lot of time, and hopefully, well, end of this month will be the end of all these videos, these boxing videos, or any incredible less amount of videos. It's going to drop. So yeah, Chris, you're gonna get your wish. I'm gonna stop watching boxing as much because I've got other things to do in my life. But yeah, I can't stop him because there's other things to do in life. And no disillusion, no. 10 years, nobody can disillusion me, mate. Nobody can disillusion me. I've just got other things I want to do in my life. So other things I want to go and achieve, things I want to do that I've always wanted to do. And yeah, I've done enough. I've given enough to this sport. And as far as I'm concerned, I've given enough. I've got a whole 10 years of this sport. And I think now, okay, I might not get these predictions right, but I think my tactics are spot on. My tactics are spot on. My tactics are spot on. So I think my tactical breakdowns are as good as anybody across YouTube. So might not have got the win in the end, the fight in the end, because I can't make the guy fight. But the strategy to how to beat Kovalev, you can't argue with it. And you can't argue with the strategy for what Kovalev had to do to beat Yarde. Your breakdowns have gotten better each time. Of course they are. Well, yeah, I'll wait until I do my Clarissa Shields Ivana Habazan breakdown. That'll be something. That'll be something. And actually, the similar things that Yarde had to do against Kovalev are the similar things is what Ivana's going to have to do against Shields. So, right, I'm out of here. Thank you all so much for watching again. Like, dislike, share, don't share, super chat, don't care. I'm out. Enjoy and have a great day. If I can find the end stream here somewhere, wherever that is. Yep. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate you. Thank you, Ruben.